up, Trevor?
What's up, Coach? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing, man?
I'm good. How's the
Awesome.
new baby?
She's been great. She's been great. Thanks
Huh?
for asking, dude. Yeah. Yeah. She's just like sleeping and
Oh, that's good.
eating and just chilling, dude. So we have this, I have this like kangaroo shirt where it has like a pouch on my
Oh,
chest. And so she'll just like sit in there. So that's been pretty cool. Thanks for hopping on, man. So basically, what I'm thinking is we'll just kind of talk through before, during, and after of the 4 week challenge as a whole and your skill and the way that you think about catching as a whole. And then if there's any kind of natural conversation that comes up, we can go on that. We'll try to keep it
okay.
like maybe 10, 15 minutes.
All right, cool.
Okay. Well, sweet, man. And you're good with me posting this, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. Why don't you tell me this? How did you find out about me? Did you watch my videos? Like, how, tell me about that.
So I started following you on Instagram. I like see you on like the Instagram Reels and stuff.
Uh huh.
And then I signed up for like the emails and stuff when I took your 7 day like stance challenge and stuff.
Uh huh.
I did that, and then I would just keep getting the emails, and then I saw that you were doing the 4 week challenge like right before I was about to start my season. I was like, oh, let me just see if he's still open. So I signed up for it, and yeah,
That's awesome, man.
yeah,
Okay. And you're a senior this year, right?
yeah.
And you're
Uh-huh.
going to what school to go play?
Lane Community College in Oregon.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, they got a winner in you, my friend.
Thank
So, okay, so tell me coming in to the challenge, right? What were like the main problems or things that you were like really trying to work on in terms of your defensive catching skill?
So honestly, just like my flexibility, like I was like a good catcher, but just like my flexibility is really what was limiting me. Like I would see like the pro guys and the college guys like just get into like these really good stances.
Mm-hmm.
Like my throwing and receiving was always good, but I always felt like I could get to like a next level, like next gear, you know?
Yeah,
And that's really what I was trying to find in the 4 week challenge, and I found it.
that's awesome. So, okay, how were your stances before we started? Like, did you feel comfortable? Did you feel tight?
So really like the first week, honestly, I was just really uncomfortable before I started. I was just really uncomfortable like just in my like body, like when
Mm-hmm.
I would squat, because just like my hips were really tight. Like I really didn't know like work with my hips to get them into like the right and to actually like be comfortable and get in a good stance.
Mm-hmm.
I never use like the knee down stance. Like this is my first season using it. Like I'm trying out in bullpens, sometimes in the game and stuff. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting really comfortable with it. But yeah, I never use that. My secondary stance for throwing out runners and stuff would be like not pretty, I guess.
Mm.
Almost be like standing up, really just not catching like the strike first.
Mm-hmm.
Like it would always be a ball. I'd just be focused on instead of receiving, just throwing more in that stance. But then going into the first week, the catching stance, you really taught me just to get like for the primary stance, the most important, really just to like get low, be able to catch that strike and make it look like an actual strike instead of struggling with it. My flexibility, I learned how to sit back more into my hips instead of more on my knees. I
Hmm.
mean, I never really had knee problems, but I would just sit more either on like the balls of my feet or more like on my knees, you know? And then sitting more back into my hip, using like my bigger muscles instead of like the bone and bone on bone. But yeah, I mean, I just thought it really helped to like get the basics down, you know? Catching is all about stances. So just getting the basics down really helped me.
That's so good, man. So you had never caught with a single knee
No.
before.
Uh-uh.
Okay. And now have you used it in the games?
Yeah, yeah. So this past weekend, I was really using it like deeper in counts, you know, trying to get that low strike. Not really like comfortable in like my left my so my this knee, I don't
Uh-huh.
my left knee up and my right knee down just because I'd have to try it out more, but my left knee down is really comfortable. I really feel comfortable in grabbing that low strike.
That's awesome. Yeah, I should make a video on the right knee down stance
Mhm.
because what you'll see if you watch guys, there's two left knee down stances that they'll have. One is where they'll just like take their left knee and like point it completely sideways so that it's not in the way, right? Because that's the
Mhm.
issue
Yeah.
is your elbow runs into it. And so they'll like literally like open it up completely sideways. So that's one. The other one that I've seen a lot of guys do, especially like when there's a run on first and there's a chance that they're going to steal, is they'll have their left knee kind of caved in a little bit, like in front of their body. And so that way, if their knee is here, right, they still have like all
Mhm.
the mobility. They can still reach over here and they're not going to run into their knee over
Mhm.
here. So
Yeah.
So keep an eye on some of those big leaguers as you're
Okay.
watching, and
Yeah,
see if you can just
JT Real
copy those
Musa does
stances.
it really good.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a totally different stance from the left knee down.
Yeah,
Totally different.
totally different. So yeah, well, that's awesome, man. I'm glad that you're adding that in. And if you want to keep on playing beyond college and stuff, like you have to have all of the stances. So I'm glad that you're getting your reps and getting your feet wet in there.
Thank you.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about what your experience was like actually doing the 4-week challenge. What stood out to you? What was it like? Tell me about.
Okay, yeah. So like the format of the 4-week challenge was really nice. I liked how like it was just one idea on 1 week. Definitely it was like test my work ethic because there'd be some nights I get home late. I was like, oh, I really don't want to do this right now. But I would still go down, just film 5 minutes, it's not that much. It's definitely laid out really nice with like the communication part of it and how you can just react to it, stuff like that. We could send videos to you. Honestly, like I just thought it really helped me out. Just the 4 weeks, the receiving, stances, blocking, and throws and stuff. Really like the 4 key parts of catching. So
Yeah,
I really thought it hit all of the ideas.
that's awesome. What was the biggest thing from receiving that you took away?
Okay, so definitely the inside pitch because
Mm,
so when I would go and catch it, I'd just go like this, totally like lose the strike. My coach would be all mad at me and stuff. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Sorry, sorry." But definitely like getting like around it, I found really helps to just keep that strike a strike instead of turning your whole body. Because like when you move your hand, you move your body, right? So when you turn your glove, it's almost like you open up more,
mm-hmm.
giving like the umpire like, "Oh, that's an obvious ball." When it might have been a strike, but I feel like getting
Right.
around it on that inside pitch really helps me out. I mean, I still obviously need like some more practice and stuff, but I definitely took that away from it.
That's awesome. Okay, what about for blocking? What was the biggest thing that you learned?
Oh, blocking is not my thing, but definitely like just the 7 days. I mean, the transition into it, just letting it hit you first, moving your body, lateral block, stuff like that. I thought really like slowed the process down.
Mm,
Just pretty much learning how to block all over again.
yep.
Because like when you're younger you know it all, but then when you get like older you don't really think of it. So I think slowing it down and just learning more like how to move your body to get to the ball, I thought really helped. Definitely like my lateral blocks. I mean, they can obviously still use some work, but I think I tried out the two, like the step and then just like the
Block your
fall on your
knees.
knee. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I tried both of them. I like the second one better. I mean, I was trying the step, but I just found it didn't really work for me. It felt like I was just late to the ball. And then like the second part, really to use your glove first, like get your glove to the ball first. It's just like a cue in my head that I use now to just make sure I get my glove there first and like let the body follow.
Since we're doing it, why don't we go one thing for throwing too? What was your biggest takeaway there?
Okay. I thought just like that day 6, really like when I just slowed it down and learned like how to like my throwing motions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because like obviously like I remember you talking about it, like MLB players like have like the strongest arm, they throw 90 and all that. But I'm over here throwing like 75, 80 poop. I just thought like the hip hinge, like the little flip motion, because you don't want to have like that long arm. You just want to have it quick to the throw.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that really helped me out. I thought the left knee like kind of cave in and it
Mm,
definitely felt like I was faster. And then just like thinking like a little cue is like staying low. I just don't want to stand all the way up. And then just you talking about more of like the transition, like you can have like the strongest arm, but like the transition is what drops your time.
I love it. Okay, talk to me a little bit about the journaling side. What was that like? How
Um
was that for you?
yeah, so the journaling part really helped me. I thought like before every one of my sessions, like the 5 minutes, I'd go back a day and look at like, oh, what did I do good? What did I need help with? And I go back and like see what you reacted, gave advice and stuff. I
Mhm.
go back and look at that. I'll make sure to work on that. I thought it kept me really accountable. And like even like if I had a really bad day, if my good was like, oh, I just like put on my gear and did the work today.
Yep.
Like even if it's like that, it just showed me like it just kept me accountable with the whole week. If I maybe forgot to journal, I'd go back the next day. I'd be like, oh, like I did this good. I need to work on this today. But yeah, at the end of the day, it just kept me really accountable.
Had you ever journaled before?
I mean, like I journal, like my off season, I got that journal. I started journaling my baseball progress,
Mhm.
just like what I did in the day, what I thought like I did good,
Mhm.
stuff like that. But like, yeah.
Now, here's a question. Have you continued to do the daily work and journal since ending the challenge?
Yeah, I have. So since we've started practice, after we're done throwing, all the all the infielders and outfielders go and do their glove work. I actually do that whole receiving progression and blocking progression,
Right.
and I've been working in more with the throws and the transitions and stuff like that.
Great.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so awesome. Okay. Before doing the 4-week challenge, would you have known what to do and like what order to do drills in as well as you do now?
No, like last season, so I've never really had like a catching coach like you.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always really just gone off and like like when my coach is like, catchers, go do your own thing. I've always gone like done whatever really I felt like. But now since it's like laid out, I really just like do like how the 4 weeks is laid out. I do my stances, I do like a little receiving work, blocking, and then finish off with the throwing and stuff.
Yep.
And like all like those like 5 days a week, like the videos you sent and stuff, it's really like it's like a bunch of drills. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, really what it is, it's the way that you learn it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, I mean, it took me a long time to figure out, okay, I need to do this one before this one. And then it leads to this one. And then it leads to this one. But once you figure it out, then you can go through it and you can do it every day in like what, 15 minutes or so. Like you could hit receiving, blocking, throwing and do all of them in 15 minutes, just real quick.
Just the progression of it is really laid out, I think. Well laid out, I thought.
That's awesome, man. Okay, so then let me ask you this. You are a senior, right? There was also some 7-year-olds there and some 12-year-olds. Do you think it was still beneficial for you to go back to like the very, very basics and the progressions? So why, if not why?
So yeah, I really thought so because like as I was saying, like as when you grow up, when you're young, you're going through like the 7U, 8U, machine pitch, all that stuff. You really get taught how to do it, but maybe you don't get taught it the right way. I think at my age, I think it was really good to go back and just relearn like the fundamentals of it, because there might be some stuff in your game where you're doing it wrong, and that might be, what's the word I'm looking for, messing up your game. Mm-hmm. So I thought going back and learning it again, I mean, there's always room to grow and learn. So I thought going back and redoing it, maybe sharpening my skills, really helped.
Okay. And then how important was the feedback from me? Like, do you think it would have been the same in terms of your experience if you just got the videos?
No, I think it would be way different. I mean, I think the advice that you give me really helps. I mean, like even if like say I post it in the morning and you respond to me at night, I'd even go back and be like, like he's telling me to do this. Like you would send me like a picture of like my body alignment, stuff like that. I'd go back into my basement and be like, oh, now I get it. So I think the advice really helped, just like guiding us through the challenge.
That's awesome, dude. Okay. And then who else do you think would be like a good fit? Like if you had to describe the perfect person who would go through this, who would they be? What resources would they need?
Like catcher that you think would benefit most from this? So I honestly think maybe like a 8th grader, or maybe like a freshman or sophomore, because I think they're just like getting into that next level of catching, because maybe like growing up playing club ball, I mean you're just playing, right? So going into that next level, you're learning a whole lot more. Maybe just making sure you have your game up to date, I think would be really beneficial for them. Obviously, like the 6 and 7-year-olds that we had on there, I'm sure they grew a lot, just because I mean, catching is just something that you continue to learn. It's not like you can just learn it when you're 6 or 7. But yeah, I would say maybe like a freshman or sophomore, I think would benefit most. I mean, I think any age, honestly. If I was in college, I'd definitely do this.
That's awesome. Okay, now 2 more questions. What resources do you need in order to be able to do this well? Do you have to have a machine or your dad throwing you balls or anything like that?
No, I mean like Jackson, he would just throw it off the wall. I mean, that guy's a dog. So
I know, you see him catch that one behind his back.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you don't need anything. You just need a glove, a ball, and I mean your catcher's gear, really. I mean, you don't need anybody to throw with you. I mean, it's just something that you do every day. I mean, you could do it by yourself, or I mean, if you have a partner, use a partner. But I feel like you just do it by yourself for the whole 4 weeks.
Awesome. Now, you said that you were struggling with mobility coming in. Do you still feel like you have more work to do there with mobility? And do you know what to do in order to get better at it?
So I always feel like I could be more flexible. I feel like I just have really, really tight hips, just because of like when I was a freshman and sophomore, I really got into like the weight room and stuff, but I would really like not even stretch or anything. So I think hitting all like those leg days and stuff, I just just get all tight in the hips. But from your 7-day stance challenge, I got all those mobility exercises from you. So I've been incorporating that into my warm up, into like my daily stretching routine, all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, I've been doing some yoga, but yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so I don't know if you've seen this. I posted a 6-minute video that you can follow along to on YouTube. So you could literally just like press play and do that, learn that routine, watch it, don't watch it. But like that's something that if I was playing, I would try to do that every day. Then I'm curious, would you want like when you're doing that other yoga and stuff, are you just going on YouTube and just typing in yoga for baseball players, or what do you type in?
I just type in like yoga for like legs or full body yoga or like yoga for tight hips, stuff like that.
Nice. Okay. Cool. I'll try to put together some other like catcher specific ones too. So keep your eyes out for that in the future. But awesome job, man. You absolutely crushed it. I felt like you grew a ton as I was watching your videos progress every day. I'm like, oh man, he implemented it. His body's moving better. So every day, man, very nice. Great job.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm sure as like a coach, it's really like rewarding to be like, oh, he got it. Like, you know, like after you teach it, I'm sure it's really rewarding.
Yeah, it totally is, man. And it's just fun. It's fun to see it because, I remember when I was in your shoes, except I don't know if you know much of my story, but I was an infielder my whole life and I transitioned to a catcher my junior year of college.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Can you imagine that, dude?
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
So I only caught for 18 months. And then after that, once I finished playing, then I was done. I mean, how old were you when you started catching?
Like 6 or 7.
Right. And you're what, like 17 now? Or so you've been catching for like 11 years. You know what I mean? And I had to start from 0 and then get up to a D2 level. And so like I had to obsess over like, okay, what do I need to do in order to learn this as quick as I can? Because otherwise I wouldn't play. And so it's super fun because I remember all those challenges that I was going through that I see you guys going through. And I'm like, oh, I remember that. That wasn't that long ago that I had that. So you're right. It's very fun.
That's crazy.
Well, thank you for hopping on and sharing your thoughts on this, dude. I am rooting for you as you move on. And if you have any questions throughout the rest of the season, let me know.
Yeah. So like staying in contact, like would I just like DM you on Instagram or?
Yeah, you could just hit me up in the community app or on Instagram, either way.
All right, cool. So all right, yeah, thank you so much for doing this and letting me be like the newbie, like the tester.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Hey, do you have any feedback for me? Like if you were to improve anything, would you improve? Like what would you try to make better?
No, it was nothing. I mean, it was really well laid out. The videos are really nice. No, yeah. All I would say is maybe like that mobility video you're talking about, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because I feel like a lot of catchers struggle with that mobility. I mean, it's hard, you know.
It's the biggest killer, dude. Because then, right, if your hips are tight, then you get into a bad stance. One, your focus is on your body rather than on the ball, and then 2, you can't move because you're in a bad stance. And then you can't actually do all the movements because your hips are tight. So that's like the great unlock for catchers from what I've seen. Because then if you can get them into a good stance and they're comfortable, they look athletic, they move more athletic, and then everything gets easier. That's the game that you're in right now too, it seems like.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, dude. Heck of a job. Very impressed with you. And I'm rooting for you this season, man. I hope that you tear it up.
I'll have to keep in touch on how things are going in the season.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right,
man. Thank you so much.
You have a good night, Trevor.
Thanks, you too.